All right, we are live streaming officially now here at Red or Green Books. Welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out to support Starchild and their amazing book, Almah. It is just a beautiful, beautiful book. I wish Shane could be here today. She's the cover artist, Shane Maynor with Guerrilla Poets. I'll flash their little logo. She's an amazing, amazing artist. Truly, truly has outdone herself on this beautiful, beautiful cover art. All right. Oh, good. We have some more folks coming in the room. You're good, Issa. You're fine, sweetness. My daughter's like, they're trained now at this point in Zooming. They can move around me, and that's fine. All right. So today we are going, yes, love the cover, right, Nancy? It's just an incredible, incredible book. We're going to talk a little bit about Starchild's journey to producing this book, a little bit about what the book is about, what you can expect while you're reading it, a little bit about Red or Green Books, a little bit about what's coming up, and we'll hear from Starchild. Welcome, Khadija. And if I mispronounce people's names, I really do apologize. It's not intentional. Names are important to get right for me. So if I do mispronounce that, please grant me a little bit of grace. Okay, good. Woo! All right, I got it right. All right, let's go. So a little bit about Red or Green Books. We're a very small publishing house in Albuquerque, New Mexico. We just published our 54th book this year. We've been doing this for 3 years now. And in fact, for the summit, I calculated the total number of words, and we've published over 600,000 words in the couple of years that we've been doing this. We focus mainly on debut authors as well as groups of people who've been marginalized, stigmatized, really suppressed, including the LGBTQ community, which I'm a part of, different cultural, ethnicity, and racial communities that have historically had very little access to publication. We have a gun violence initiative going on right now called American Graveyard Calls to End Gun Violence. If anyone would like to help with that project, you can send a copy of the book, which I don't even have in front of me, a copy of the book to a U.S. state senator completely anonymously through the press for only $15. Our goal is to have every U.S. state senator have a copy of that book, especially in light of what happened in Maine recently. We need to continue the discussion about gun violence in this country. So those are a little bit of things about Red or Green Books. You can find us Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We have the debut poetry launch coming up next November 11th. We also have Poet Palooza, which is our anniversary show. And unless watch. I was like, I'm going to remember. I'll just remember the dates. I don't need to have them in front of me. I'll just remember them. And of course, I won't remember them, but I do have them relatively quickly. Yes. So the debut poet book signing is going to be November 11th. Poet Palooza will be November 18th. That is our anniversary show. And we're doing our last reading of American Graveyard December 9th. So if anyone is interested, go to the website, go to any of our social media pages, go support, please, what we're doing so that we can continue pushing up people like Starchild and their incredible work, which I'm so super excited because this is the first book we've actually published on the page that has Hebrew in it. So that is just, I'm so super elated and excited about all of that. And despite everything that's happening abroad, to be able to come here and have a voice is monumentally and epically important. And so we wholeheartedly support our poets in all of their different communities and all of their messages. All right, so Starchild, tell me a little bit, and remember, there might be some folks here who know you, but there's definitely people who don't know you, and then who are going to be maybe watching this live streaming on Facebook, and then of course on the YouTube channel later, who've never met you or don't know that much about you. So why don't you tell us a little bit about you, where you live, who you are, what you do, all of that good stuff. Tell us a little bit about the book, what we can expect to read in here, and the wonderful journey that is Almah.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, so I'm Starchild. I use they, them pronouns, but it's okay if my mom calls me he, because I don't know, that's what she's done for all of her life. It's okay. But Yeah, so I live in Williamsburg. I am a psychotherapist. I've also worked as a pastor in the past, um, and also worked as a high school English teacher. And yeah, basically, um, and I've got a beautiful wife, two amazing sons, Matthew and Isaiah. My wife's name is Cheryl, and Cheryl's here tonight. And yeah, and really, this book, Almah. So, Almah is a Hebrew word that gets mistranslated as virgin into English. And what it prominently in a prophecy in the book of Isaiah where it says, woman, and I'm translating it the way that, the young woman will be with child, and his name shall be Emmanuel. And actually, I'd like to, like, as a way of just introducing the concept of Alma, I'd like to read the title poem, if that would
Sure.
be cool. So I just, like, throughout my life, um, I have had these beautiful interactions with God, with the divine, and the nature of the voice that I hear when I have these kind of mystical interactions, when I'm praying, when I'm connecting, it's a feminine voice, and I really when I dove into this concept of Alma. Alma means a woman who is in full bloom. So it doesn't have anything to do with whether or not she's sexually active. It's just that she is ready to have children. Like that's what the word means. So it's like, so here it goes. Here's the poem, Alma. It doesn't mean virgin. It has nothing to do with whether or not a woman has shared her flower. Alma means a woman who is in full bloom with wild dreams and unstoppable hope. She has not had her milk sucked dry by the task of growing other humans. Her petals have not closed after too many clumsy bees landed too fast and took too much. Perhaps she has entertained many bees without being stung, and she is every bit as fresh as she was the moment she opened for the first time and tasted the sweet sun kissing her deepest buds to call forth the life that always dances within her, since she will never stop being a maiden. Or maybe her first blooms withered too quickly, but life gave her a new spring even now as a crone. She dances with the poor who find her, while the rich try to bottle her up like a genie with their rosary beads. And old men with shiny hats build cathedrals of speculative assertions about how virgin mothers are supposed to behave, painting her so pale white that she's barely visible. But the Alma just laughs the laughter of a wild queen, and she keeps on creating the universe, entirely unbound by papal edicts, knowing her joy is already overthrowing the world.
Oh, I love that. Y'all, like, I just have to say, when I first met Starchild, it was really at the very early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic, and we met on Zoom, right?
Yep.
And you were one of the first people who really started to build the community, this poetry community that we're all now a part of. Like, isn't it just wild to think about, right? That this was like, what, 3 years ago now?
Well, and there's something specific that you might not remember, but when I came on first doing my poetry, I said, so I'm Morgan, but I kind of used to have a stage name, Starchild, that I kind of used, and you said, okay, Starchild, and you started calling me Starchild, and then I was like, oh, okay, I guess that's my poet name, so I'm gonna keep on going with it. But like you helped me own that name, and the name Starchild. It was the first username that I had back in the old days of the internet when it was just chat rooms,
Yeah.
like back in the late '80s, and it was my first username because I've always felt like an alien since I'm a weirdo, and
You're not a weirdo. Everyone else is a weirdo because they're not as cool as you.
but anyway, yeah. So Yeah,
But
like
and it was in the inscription. It was lovely, and it I did not remember that. So I'm really glad that you told me, because it's so important. You know, we don't really know how we affect one another sometimes,
right.
especially with meeting so many people. Um, but I knew really the moment I met you, I wanted to be a part of whatever it was you were going to do in the future. You know, and timing wasn't right for a lot of things early during COVID. The pandemic, it really did a lot of crazy things for people in
Mhm.
our logistics and our families, and
Right.
work and time and money. Like, it really kind of jumbled things for a lot of people. But I'm so excited that you are here now, and that you're part of what we're doing, that we get to be part of what you're doing. Like, it's so full circle to me, the energy of having you part
Yeah.
of what we're doing,
Yeah.
because you were there in the beginning. Do you know
Yep.
what you know what I mean? So
Absolutely.
it's been an honor to know you and now to publish you. So thank you for being
Yeah.
part of this press, and allowing us to be on this journey with you.
Yeah. Well, and
Um,
I think that, and part of the idea with the book, and one of the reasons I mentioned that, how you had kind of been part of my renaming or reclaiming my name, is part of what I want to express through this book is that who I am is really an amalgamation of all of the people who have influenced me. And in particular, I've had some amazing women who have been part of my life. And, starting with my mom and my sister and my wife, but also a lot of friends along the way, a lot of, so many teachers, and so many people when I was in a position where I was supposedly the teacher, and they were the student or the younger person or whatever, they taught me. And that's kind of part of the concept of Alma too, is that this this kind of young feminine energy, I see it as being the purest expression of divinity, in terms of, because I believe that everyone, is created in the image of God, and that we're all part of this divine energy and consciousness. And in particular, in the poet community, and I've it's just all like we're all in this thing together. There's no individualism. I am who I am because of you, because of Shane, because of Elaine, Hill, like all these people, like have just been part of the poetry community. Have really shaped me, and of course, all the other influences in my life.
it's so amazing.
So I want to jump in. I so one of the most decisive things that happened to me when I was a little boy was my mother read me a book about a unicorn that had my name, and that was kind of the core, you know, I guess, filter through which I view reality. So here it is. It's called Unicorn. Before anything else happened, you read me the story of a unicorn named Morgan. Are unicorns real, Mommy? Of course they are, sweetie. For a boy with your imagination, you're my little unicorn. So I invented entire galaxies and inhabited them. I drew their maps and I wrote their histories. Whenever jokes didn't make sense, whenever I couldn't catch balls, whenever I saw laughing and pointing, whenever my hands didn't know where to go. One morning I saw a blue glow outside. I turned off the burglar alarm to see if my spaceship had come, but it was only the bug zapper. Daddy tried to teach me to throw. He wrestled me, called me sir, shook my hand, but the one lesson that stuck was that life is a question mark. I did not want a horn on my head. It makes me clumsy. People keep their distance. I try to saw it off, but it always grows back. Unicorns remain children forever. We sit improperly in chairs. We look for elves in the drugstore. We gallop without explanation. I kissed a boy once. I crushed on so many lesbians that I married a woman who wanted a unicorn. Just so it's clear, I am queer, autistic, and I speak in tongues. I flirt with plants and I pray in Greek. That's why I don't attract disciples. I love Jesus, and I'm also in the chariot with Krishna overlooking Kurukshetra. I'm still in my Dionysus phase, and I sit with grandmothers and monks of all kinds, and I'm white, which means everything I do is cultural appropriation since I can only be a tourist with no homeland, cut off from my ancestors. And yet I do have ancestors. A salty oil man Baptist deacon grandpa, a Mississippi bodhisattva who invented the electric wheelchair, feisty daughters of the Texas Republic, a Yale Divinity Dean Bible translator, watermelon farmers who spoke English with Mexican accents, a missionary who went to China and came back a Taoist. Maybe she's the one who makes other people's truths stick to me like flypaper. Do they stand behind me, or have they left in bewilderment? Maybe my ancestors are the horn on my head, shoving me into lovelier confusion. I want to breathe God's name perfectly. I want to dance in sync with her love, but I stampede and break things. I seize every hand that pulls away. Can you handle a beautiful mess? Because whatever oozes from my orifices, I am still God's poetry. I just want her to finish the damn poem. She keeps on adding new plot twists, forbidden mountaintops where other gods are being invoked. But can I call that Jesus too? I really need Jesus to wear a name tag. I'm always looking for him, and he says, "Here I am," but he's dressed up as Kali or Huracan. I don't trust my footing. Unicorns are jumpy. You keep horse whispering me, but never in an orthodox way. You've led me to the field beyond notions of right doing and wrongdoing, and I'm terrified you're going to say that I'm free to run now.
Yes. Yes. I want
So
to
the
find my own.
unicorn.
Here's to finding unicorns.
Yeah, so that was kind of the core thing, the way that I understood myself was that I'm a unicorn. And so of course people aren't going to understand me and, by, bullying me and make fun of me because I'm from a different universe, like
Absolutely. That was one of the things I loved the most about you, though. You stretched so much of people's imaginations.
mm,
And you're always unapologetically authentic and real. And that is something that should be honored and and really loved, because in a world where there's so much falsities,
mm.
you are the light in that, in my humble opinion. So I'm super excited. The book is just brilliant. It is a wonderful book. It also has these wonderful images in it
Oh
of
yeah, I
Star
took
Child.
I took all the photos in it. They're kind of like I take like I try to find photos of the light.
Mhm.
And Khadija, can you put the question in the chat? I think that would probably be the best way to do it for now. We're also going to have a Q&A at the end.
Yes, and I will say, when I do these with authors, you are welcome to ask your question, and they are welcome not to answer. So, Star Child, do not feel like you have to answer any question.
Yeah.
You
But
know, Star
yeah,
Child is welcome to decline
awesome.
decline the
It's
answer.
good. It's good.
But if you want to answer, that is totally
Yeah.
fine as well. Welcome, Aaron. Welcome, Terry Rose Jertson, and everyone else who is now joining us. Thank you so much for being here to support Star Child. Anything you want to talk about, like about the book, about the journey, about the images that they're going to see, what they're going to experience in the book, and most importantly, like, where can people buy the book from you, get a signed copy from you, and then we'll go into your featured set, and then afterwards we'll do a Q&A for all of you.
Cool. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, basically, it's kind of an autobiography through poetry, but just all of these different people who have taught me and showed me what God is like. The way I would put it. And really, like, it's like how I have come to see God as a mother, because of all and I could write another book about, I guess, men who influenced me or whatever, but this one I just wanted to honor because I really think that the dishonor of the feminine, in our patriarchal worlds is one of the fundamental problems with it. and so the restoration of the divine feminine, I feel like that is one of the most urgent and important things that needs to happen, you know, just in our world, spiritually, and so that's what I'm trying to accomplish with this book. So yeah, so I have a bunch of copies of my book, and so they're $20, and then the shipping is like 10. But here's the thing. Okay, so this is going to be a really autistic thing for me to say. So I'm just okay. So I would like to send you a free signed copy of my book, but here's the stipulation. Um, right now, I have multiple people from what we might call the global south, or just the non-Western world, who are in various different situations where they have a lot of need. Um, I have some women in Pakistan who are Christians, who are actually in a situation where Christians are being persecuted, and they there was a big mob thing that happened where a lot of houses were burned down. I've also know and have been supporting some trans women in Uganda, some orphanages, and an orphanage in Kenya, and an orphanage in Uganda. And so what I would like is, if you'd like a free signed copy of my book, if you can get in touch with me on Facebook, and if you can, I want for some of these people, because I know these folks through Facebook, I want them to have some other doors to knock on,
Yes.
when they need support. And I want to ultimately, I'm just like so, I don't know, executive dysfunctional or whatever. Like, I haven't figured out how to create a mutual aid network to support them. And so if you're willing to help me in figuring out how to do that, and how to be supportive of them, I will send you a free signed copy of my book. Because that's really what I've been longing for, is just figuring out, and I've got some poetry about some of the folks that I've been supporting in other countries as well, because they've been great teachers for me too. So I don't know, I know that's all weird and stuff, but if you're open to considering, being a part of that, that would be amazing. And I would so like just write, like get your book to the post office like tomorrow, like if you would be up for something like that, and or yeah, $20 for the book, and then $10 for shipping, and I'll definitely sign it and write lots of nice things.
And I would say we could definitely do some sort of fundraiser event. And I don't know why Chrome is deciding to like lag now. Anyways, we can always do a fundraising event if you would like on for your book,
Cool.
to do that. For those who are watching, if you do not have Facebook, you're also welcome to email us here at Red or Green Books, and we can get you in touch with Starchild. So you can email me, Marissa. Yeah, or you can say your email. I never put authors' information out there unless, of course, they do. But
absolutely, yeah.
get in touch with us at Red or Green Books, or get in touch with Starchild, and we can make it happen for you to get a signed copy of their book. I mean, it really is a beautiful, beautiful book.
Cool. All right, can
All right, so I'm going to read more about the author, and then I'm going to have you do your set, okay? Because I want folks to hear your bio, which is in the back of the book, and I love that it has the unicorn in the picture with you.
Yes.
It is such a great picture. All right. Starchild was my first username in an online chat room in roughly 1989. It was exhilarating to be able to name myself with a name that was gender ambiguous, which was the way I always secretly felt many years before I came out as non-binary. When I heard George Clinton say the name Starchild in his song Mothership Connection, it became my stage name as a performer. My birth name is Morgan Guyton. It's not a dead name. I still love my birth name since it's the name of the Welsh ocean goddess, as well as the misunderstood Celtic Christian saint, whose name in Latin is the infamous Pelagius. I hope I said that right.
Pelagius.
Pelagius. I knew I was going to screw someone's name up today.
It's all good.
All right. Pelagius. Now I will not ever forget that. In addition to writing poetry, I make electronic dance music. My album, Dolly Parton for President, will be on all streaming platforms as of September 16th, 2023, which is also Starchild's birthday. I also am a psychotherapist and a former pastor. I live in Williamsburg with my wife, Cheryl, and my sons, Matthew and Isaiah. I would love to be in conversation with you about these poems. You can find Starchild on social media. Instagram at Starchild Druid, Druid. I will invite the room now to unmute their mics. Let me ask all to unmute and welcome up our featured reader, our brand new author of the incredible book, Almah, the one and only Starchild!
Yeah.
All right.
It's so great to see you, and especially those of you like who I haven't seen in a long time. Like Erin, I'm so glad that you made it out. So glad. Oh, David, you're there too. Cool. Good to see you, Ja. Good to see everybody. I'm not gonna name all the names because then I'll forget one of the names or something. Okay, so yeah, so I wanted to kind of take you on this journey of getting to know the Divine Mother. And so I'm going to start off with a poem about walking in the woods. It's called Magic. We used to walk through wood dark days, I a pilgrim seeking water, you a breeze tickled wanderer who picks up every rock and claimed to read it. And you humored me, who squinting through sunlight needed to douse my heart sores and scrape my penance. You laughed, heard my confessions, then told me to stop. It took some time for the silence to lose its itch, but then I found it. Behind the leaves' higher rustlings, beneath the smaller footfalls, there in the wet, soft slap of riverstone, I heard the ancient whisper. All right. One of the most powerful moments when I got called into this understanding of the divine that I have happened when I was on a trip to Mexico. I went with my friend in college in 1998, and I was standing in the square or the Zocalo of San Cristobal de las Casas, which is the colonial capital of the state of Chiapas in Mexico. And this is a poem about what happened when I was in the square and the way that the mother called me. Cómprelo, señor, por favor, cómprelo. Buy it, sir, please buy it. There were two of you, each pulling one of my index fingers. It was a scenario no guidebook had warned me about. You were holding Zapatista dolls that had started to unravel in your hands. Had your mothers made the dolls? Why were you in the streets of the Zocalo in San Cristobal de las Casas? Why weren't you in school where little girls ought to be, even in Mexico? Why did you touch me more intimately than any child has ever touched me before or since then? I had not gone to Mexico to be robbed of my innocence. I went because it was cheap and dangerous enough to feel exhilarating. We had met an Argentinian in the capital who said he could introduce us to the Zapatistas, but when we got to Chiapas, I saw frat boys snapping photos of themselves, laughing with t-shirts of the Subcomandante, and the streets were filled with young children selling cigarettes and trinkets. I can never be a tourist again. I wrote in my journal that night, and your faces haunted my dreams, and I looked for you everywhere after that. And I wrote a poem about going to Mexico that won the Martha Richford Roberts Prize for Best Undergraduate Poem at the University of Virginia. I didn't make the cut for Rita Dove's class and I got rejected by the MFA program. So I went back down to Mexico to live with the Zapatistas for a summer, sharing the village of Dolores Hidalgo with an Austrian anarchist who refused to speak English because he hated Americans who go to Chiapas and buy ski masks and take photos laughing in the Zocalo. And he laughed at me when the village elders took away my machete saying, "Gringo no sirve," since I was about to cut my legs off instead of limpiando la milpa. And the boys of the village said, "Mayuk, gringo," every time they beat me on the ball court where the rim was iron with no net. Then I joined the Lutheran Volunteer Corps and worked to support the Sandinista revolution, and then fought for the farm workers and later became a high school teacher who started a club called Salsa for the Niñas del Zocalo, and then became a youth pastor for the gangbanger kids, and we started a soccer team called Sangre de Cristo with red uniforms, even though their colors were blue because they were not Sureños, but I never stopped yearning to go south of the river. I have dreamed of San Cristobal many times. I've walked the steps down from the cathedral on one hill, through the city to the steps up the cathedral on the opposite side. I know that Chamula is my mother now, or Pachamama as they call her in the Amazon, where my plant medicine is made by indigenous women who do not have to walk the Zocalo barefoot selling dolls because their land wasn't sold out from under their feet by NAFTA. My friend Anna Yeltsin made a painting of you, but in her painting you look different. Because there's one black girl and one brown girl, which expresses who my teachers have always been. But I will always remember the first two girls who grabbed me by the fingers, like a gringo little brother who needed to be taken home after he ran off to the big city to make a name for himself with his grandfather's inheritance money. I do not know which of you were people and which were angels, or whether there's a difference, but I'm so glad you didn't let me remain a tourist, because the adventure has been worth every heartache, and one day white men will hand over all our wealth so that no child is ever barefoot in the Zocalo selling dolls ever again. All right. And this is one about someone who taught me tremendously. It's called Angry Black Girl. You were the one who taught me that an angry black girl is actually just a prophet who calls out the bullshit when it happens as a service to the community. I remember feeling special when you were willing to open up to me as we sat on a bench and you spilled all the tea about all the nonsense that has never stopped. Your girlfriend called you Trixie, which made me giggle. I figured out over time that you're a goofy goth punk nerd. You were such an important leader for the queer Christians and witches who spent Thursdays in our space learning how to live with queer virtue. Yeah, most of my teachers have been people who don't look like me, brown and black women who are younger than me, and that's the way that it's always been. And that's who I see the divine in. All right. I want to read one about just talking about, because my mom is the core of all of this. You call it walking around the block, but usually we walk quite a few blocks. And for many years, I got shin splints trying to keep up with you. I always thought you'd get into the Olympics for power walking, and I know that it's hard as your body gets older. I want to believe that whatever comes after this, we will get to walk our usual route every morning in eternity. It's the best prayer practice I've ever been a part of. And I remember the days when I was completely defeated and didn't think I had a chance to get anywhere. You would listen and breathe love in my heart. So I said the same thing every day for at least 2 months until I finally got a job and started to develop a plan. You put me back together again on those walks around the block, not with correct answers or church platitudes, but with the love only a mother knows how to embody. You showed me what it means to walk with Christ, and that was how God showed me that she is my mother. This is called Chain Smoking. It's about how I met how I finally asked my wife on a date that was like a terrible first date idea, and she said no, but then we went on a date anyway later, like doing something different. I was chain smoking when I picked up the phone to call you and invite you to a high school football game. Since you were the girl from our church I dancing with who smiled the most, and looking into your eyes like walking through the doorway of 1,000 churches at the same time. You said no to the football game. It was such an autistic first date idea, but you didn't hang up the phone. And there were several moments of awkward silence when I lit a new cigarette off the butt of the old one, but you weren't like the other bougie white girls who bail whenever there's awkward silence. You stayed on the line and said, "What about lunch?" And I remembered you had said you liked falafel, and I'm sure there's something about this memory you'll correct because you're always correcting my memories. But we stayed on the line. We went to International Delights that we didn't kiss until the night of my master teaching program party after I said you were just a friend when Ben asked what was going on, or maybe it was a different night, but on Valentine's Day, I brought my djembe to your back porch and decided to serenade you with In Your Eyes, which was such a weird autistic thing to do, but it actually worked. And just a couple months later, I went shopping for rings, and my mother and I were arguing, so I called you and said, "Fruity Loop or pretzel?" And you went with Fruity Loop. And I got you a round diamond instead of a square one, and I asked you to marry me on a bridge in Duke Gardens, and we co-preached a sermon while one of us was watching the other one's feet in order to overthrow the patriarchy through our wedding, although overthrowing it in our marriage has taken a lot more time, because each of us wants the other one to step up since the couch is so damn comfortable, or at least that's how it looks from my perspective. I wanted you to be like my mom and take care of the plane tickets and declutter the house, but you aren't my mom, which made me tantrum for many years. I think we finally got into a place that's more collaborative now, as I heal of my lifelong fear of being a responsible adult. It's still hard to make phone calls to customer service departments designed to make you hang up and not get your money back. Purgatory is lonely as hell. Maybe one day I'll coax you into starting the commune I've always dreamed of having. We've always said we wanted to have a spiritual retreat center together, though I know our visions for that are different. And you're an opinionated German lady while I'm an intergalactic space fairy who's also a South Texas grizzly bear. But as long as we spend enough time nuzzling noses every day, it will keep on working. We've worked really hard at this, and we've come such a long way, and it's only going to get better. Here's another one about her. It's short, but it's called Adorable Forest Animal. I love looking at you when you aren't looking at me, especially when you're asleep on the couch. I'm trying to wake you up, and it's basically impossible, but you act like an adorable forest animal, hiding beneath a blanket. The noises that you make in those moments are more precious than any words I could ever type, even though you argue with me every night when I say that you're snoring. Actually, she doesn't argue with me. That was just me being dramatic in my poem. So here's something about my own like gender wildness called Punk Rock Goddess. And I hope it's not too jarring for you, Mom. Okay. There's a punk rock goddess inside my body who needs to be noticed. She doesn't care that she's the reason I will never be Buddha. She scowls when I try to teach her the self is an illusion. She wants the full experience of every single shit. She pumps her fist in the air each time she coaxes me into saying the word fuck. She never feels more righteous than when she's smashing all the stupid little rules. She wants to blossom, but she's completely intimidated by makeup and heels. She likes to spit and pick her nose and get naked and muddy. She'd rather stay weird than do the dances that are trending. She wishes all humans could wear chucks and jeans and flannels. She likes to pretend that she can cut away all her puppet strings. She wants to cover her face in ocean foam and make up languages that feel ancestral. She doesn't do anything the right way, but always in her own way. She refuses to surrender to the present moment. She never stops moving. She loves feeling alive. She has no patience for my quiet mind. She refuses to say yes to anything less than the full chaos. Now I want to read one about one of the most important women in my life who inspires me every day. And this is my sister, Julia. It's called Our Lady of Hope Valley. The mother appeared to me in a girl who lost her voice once but learned how to be a farmer and knew that everything had to be different and didn't know where to start, so she started walking on foot as a prayer to make the land sacred again. And she smiled and waved and made jokes with her neighbors, thus showing them how to love their neighbor after years of having presumed it was enough to keep their grass mowed and go to church on Sunday. But she didn't want to go to church on Sunday, at least not if they're preaching about hell, because she's lived through hell. But she refused to stay there, since her job is to spread heaven through the laughter that only arises in people who have had to shit in public, where people have spent centuries holding it in when there's no reason to hold anything in, since death will always keep making life, and the mother will keep coming to earth in sisters who win the neighborhood with their smiles. This is one just about the nature of the divine in general. There's a thing that Jesus says, I am the vine and you are the branches. And one of the things that when I was meditating on that, it's sort of like what grabs me is that human bodies, we used to be like a vine. We used to be connected to each other physically. We used to cuddle together, before we had fires, when we had to sleep outside in the dark. We were a vine. So here it is. You were the vine. We used to feel you in our bodies all the time. You were the vine, we were the branches, safely enveloped inside each other's limbs every night. Before we discovered caves or how to build tents or how to divide land or worry about egos, we were one being in multiple bodies, continuously choreographed into connection. And now we are words on a screen, misinterpreting other words on a screen, hoping the number of likes is large enough to feel like we aren't a waste of oxygen. And we remember you dimly in bars where we douse our loneliness into levity and lechery that will never feel the same way we felt when you were the vine and we were the branches. And I'm going to read one more. This is the last poem in the book. And it kind of captures, it's just sort of a summary of the message that I want to share. This time, she's our mother, and the earth is her body, and she's giving birth to everything as she sings the world into spring, which is her favorite season. She doesn't see a reason to make people afraid of her, since people who are afraid of God have made the world hell already. She's going to dispel their lies with smells that are nice and bells ring in the breeze as the trees dance to a song. She just wants us to belong and to get along, to stop trying to prove each other wrong and show off how strong we are. That way of living is gone. It's passing away. Before long, it will be a distant yesterday, and children will only remember calling God Mama when they pray. And she will play in the fields with them, and they will feel safe and loved, and no one will steal their joy ever again by holding their sin over them, telling them they're damned unless they comply with the demand and never ask questions when they don't understand, but stand and kneel in a room where God is only real inside a book, where we look for the knowledge of good and evil. So much good was written in that book, but it wasn't worth the evil done to millions whose gods were no less beautiful for the one fruit to be made into only truth. We had no excuse. The Bible told us that the fruit of knowledge of good and evil was a cursed fruit because it's the root of religious authority, which becomes white supremacy when one race of people thinks there's one door to heaven and only they have the key, which is how Christianity became its own blasphemy. And every serpent in a black robe who stands in the pulpit to proclaim the salvation of correct belief is a thief of joy, because grace happens without belief. In the midst of disease and sleazy catastrophes, when we cease and desist from trying to prove ourselves right and surrender to the light that heals us by striking us blind until our mind stops trying to control God, who doesn't live in a book, who forgives us for building an empire out of her love. But she said, enough is enough. And she's going to play it tough for a while. till every juvenile with all the answers is ready to sit down and shut up once they've had enough of the cup of wrath. We will laugh when we stop trying to know and let divinity flow through us into poetry, since it's all that God ever wanted us to be, poetry of every form, ungoverned by norms, beyond the intuition of harmony, always saying yes and, even when we don't understand, letting love take command of humanity before we fall into further calamity caused by our vanity. But our insanity does not overwhelm God any more than a mother is overwhelmed by a screaming child. She knows that we're wild, and she's wilder than we are. So that's the God who I want you to know, the wild mother, you know, and I really believe that, you know, it's like she's finding her voice in our world right now, you know, and through a lot of you, you know, she's fully, each of you, as you come into your full divinity, you know, you're part of how God is retaking the world that was stolen by patriarchy, you know. And yeah, and you don't need to, you know, I like using the word God because it kind of queers the word God to say, no, fuck you, I'm not gonna say the goddess, I'm gonna say God because God's the mother, you know. But you can use different terminology. You don't have to call it God. You don't have to call it. You call it love. Call it the mother. Call it the lover. Whatever you want to call it, spirit. You know. But she's not going to let us just continue to, you know, just go through these cycles of patriarchal violence and, you know, just all of, I mean, this, yes, call it love. Amen. That's it, you know, like love. And it's like, you know, her heart is breaking by so many things. And she's so excited about so many things also, you know, and that love, that's actually who we are, is love expressing itself in all these different bodies, you know. And she's just trying to figure out how to do it in all these different life stories, and how to make this into a beautiful story instead of, you know, just staying stuck in the same bullshit.
All right, Starchild. Did you want to read any more? I definitely do not want to interrupt you, but I don't want to leave you out there hanging too. If
So, so I was thinking maybe some time for questions and stuff like that. And I'm not sure we necessarily defined it as an hour length or whatever, but um, I need to,
I'm at your disposal.
yeah, I'm gonna need to jump off pretty soon after 8 because my son has a college essay Zoom that I've got to be a part of or something.
Oh, very super fun! Yay! I usually ask my authors, and I wanted to ask you as well. What was the most challenging thing about producing this incredible book, Alma, and what was your favorite thing?
Mm. Yeah, I think the challenging thing, just in general for me as an artist, is that I don't want to sell myself to capitalism, and I want for this to flow if the mother wants it to flow, if love wants it to flow, you know? And I don't want to like force anything. I don't want to push anything. And so I'm kind of timid, and then I don't get like all angsty and depressed or whatever, you know, and I've just really appreciated Marissa, you know, you're just being really steadfast and calm and gracious, like, hey, no, let's actually do this event. Let's actually do this, you know. And I was like, oh, okay, I guess so. Nobody's gonna come, but I guess I'll do it. You know, and and so actually, you know what, I wanna Okay, really quick, um, because I've wanted to read this poem aloud to you, Marissa, for a long time, or since I wrote it. Um, Poetry for people. Because that's who, you have done more to bring poetry to the people than anyone I know, like, and because of that pandemic shit, you know, you were so instrumental in starting this online community and just like cheering, like you had the signs that you would hold up, like it was. And there's just all these poets that are not in like the snobby MFA programs, but just real people writing shit about their lives, like beautiful, like epic stories and poems. And anyway, so here we go. The first poem I wrote about you was shit, so I'm trying again. How can one begin to name the divine power you exude in your revolution to give poetry back to the people? I told you timidly at first that my stage name had once been Starchild before I got ensnared by the suburgatory of United Methodist Ministry, and you made Starchild my name again. Every time we met on Zoom because you gave me my name back and the way you waved your construction paper heart and hooted and hollered for me rekindled the old dream that had long since died to be a unicorn bard crying out for a new world to be born. You are the new world that is coming into power. You publish poets before they know how to trust their intuition and flow with divinity. You anoint us with your tears and wild laughter. Has any woman ever run with wolves the way you do? Has any woman ever talked without shame about her needs the way you do? So you needed a better poem because you're still every bit the pool shark, but you're also the mother of a new time when lovers and artists will take over the world from the narcissist fuckboys who held the reins for so long. Your legacy will last for many generations, whether or not anyone knows the name of the mother and hungry lover who exploded with poetry after her best friend died and turned a pandemic into an opportunity for global network building so that no poets in the future will be at the mercy of competitive, overpriced MFA programs who will find mentorship and inspiration in casual friendships, which is the way poetry should be transmitted. Not as an academic exercise of inside jokes, but seeing the goal as clarity that invites people to come back to poetry because God knows most people are done with poetry. If it's the obscurantist shit in the academic quarterlies, poetry needs to be stained with green salsa and performed while wearing silly hats and acclaimed with twinkles and snaps. It's okay to have wine and cheese at the book release party as long as it happens in cafes that are wheelchair accessible and widely known to people who write to kill their demons, not giving a fuck whether someone at some point in time will use the word pedestrian to describe your work. You don't just kill demons with your poems, you blast them out of reality entirely like Eleven did to Vecna. There is nothing left to find after a shredding by Marissa Prada. I hope you keep going for a long time because I want to live in the world you're creating and someday I'll have my shit together enough to jump in.
Oh my God. I remember when you put that poem in the book, I was like, I'm not worthy. But I appreciate the validation and the being seen. This is what I'm talking about. Like from the first time I met Starchild, you just know you want someone in your life. You just know when you meet someone and you're just like, I want to be on this person's journey. And I appreciate you because you're so right, and the foundation that we're laying is allowing those who are going to be coming up after to continue to
Just needs,
smash their demons, to write their
yeah,
truths, right?
it needs to be just a completely different. We need to understand poetry differently, and fuck the elitism. I'm done with that. Like
Yes.
I'm not trying to get into the cool kids club anymore. Let's just make our own. But yeah. Anyway, does anyone have questions?
So who's got any questions? Let's see.
Oh, Aaron, yes. Well, of course. Send me the details. Hell yeah. Oh.
Yeah, well, congratulations, Erin, for sure on that. Yes, I'm so excited for you too. I don't know you yet, but I'm so super excited for you. So congratulations. That's very
Yeah.
exciting.
Khadijah, did you want to say it aloud? You're raising your hand.
Do you,
Hi.
I can yeah,
Um,
go ahead, Aaron. You can
Yeah,
ask
go.
the question out loud.
Hi, yeah, this is Khadijah. Yeah, I raised my hand. I didn't know how we were doing it. I will
Yeah,
lower.
go for it.
Okay, so Starchild, you were talking earlier about how you see God as mother, right? Like
Yeah.
that's the relationship to God. And I was just curious about like how does the complexity of motherhood show up for you when your relationship to God is in this, like identified place as being mother because our relationship to our mothers, right? They're coded in so many different things. And you've talked about your
Mm,
mother in like really beautiful ways. And it sounds very like wonderful, but like all relationships have complexity, right? So I was just curious
yeah.
how you meld those things together, right?
Wow.
How is your relationship to God as mother seen through the lens of motherhood itself? And yeah, I don't know if that's coming out the way I want it to,
Yeah.
but I feel like
What
you
a
would.
beautiful question. Yeah, and part of it that's complex is that the way that I experience God in my connection with God, she's mother, but she's also lover, and that's weird, it's just weird. Like it's not, it's like there's just um this beautiful, accepting, loving energy that is so gentle, but always tells the truth. You know, like I never, I'll and it's like there's a way that my mother tells the truth, that it doesn't shame, you know, it's but it empowers me, and I feel like the divine voice, you know, really like, and that, it's like walking around the block with my mom. That's when I was like, oh, the thing I hear in my head when I'm praying that sounds like what she sounds like when we're walking. That's the divine voice. It's not the part of me that's like, you suck. You're so irresponsible and lazy, and like all of the inner criticism, the inner judge. That's not coming from the divine, I don't think. You know, it's definitely truthful, but it's so perfectly gracious. And I feel like there's a way that that for me, at least in my journey, to call her mother, makes the most sense. But like Aaron said, I mean, it's love. We're just talking about love, and love can be personified in all kinds of archetypes, and I'm trying to learn how to be kind of a mother, kind of a father, to my kids, like and just and bring in all the parts of my personality, but there's some masculine, some feminine that are part of me, and yeah, but did I answer it kind of, or did you have other thoughts, Khadijah? Or
Yeah, I had other thoughts. I mean, yeah,
okay,
because
cool.
I think like what I'm hearing you say at least is that when you're using the term mother, it's not necessarily just in this like earthen way, right? Where it's like
Mm,
entrenched in the relationships and experiences that we have that are day to day, but it's like the absolute truth, right? Which is love, which is what Aaron is referencing, which is that like that voice that comes up when we really need it the most, or that story that we have in our head about certain things is not necessarily the mother that you're referencing, right? The mother
yeah.
of the physical world, the mother of the like the very earthen world is not the mother of absolute truth, which is that like you are worthy, you are here, you are present, you are loved, you are good, you are, and also that truth is saying that like, and this is the truth, right? Like that,
Mm.
because
Well,
sometimes, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
and it's an embodied truth. The other thing is, I was just thinking about as you were saying that, is if we understand the divine as being like a mother, and the universe as being her womb, you know, the part of the problem with the patriarchal God is that he's like way outside of reality somewhere, you know, like holding a bunch of puppet strings. But the God I believe in, I'm part of God's body, and God has me inside of her body all the time. Like
Right.
it's like, you know, or you know, that's just a way of understanding it. But just that, you know, that everything is part of the divine body, as opposed to like, oh, God's like outside of everything or something like that. I don't know if that.
That
If
makes
that
perfect sense. Makes
okay,
perfect
cool.
sense, right? Because like, yeah,
Yeah,
another,
tantric shiva. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, it did.
Thank you. Yeah, you did answer my question. I'm gonna let other people ask questions. I have more, but I will wait.
Okay, cool.
Cool.
Well, since Starchild does not have a great deal of time tonight, I guess we could take like one more question if someone wants to either type it in the chat, or you can raise your virtual hand by clicking the more with the 3 dots and click the reaction buttons and then click raise hand. That's how you can raise your hand in Zoom. Or feel free to unmute yourself if you would like to ask them a question. Okay.
Yeah, and I can hang probably till like 8:15 or something like that.
Okay, so let's tie up a few things. Where can people get a copy of your book? If you would like a free signed copy of the book, excuse me, don't forget to email Starchild or email us here at Red or Green Books. Reach out to us. You can find us redorgreenbooks.com, Red READ, SAS. Because we're in Albuquerque, New Mexico, so it's all about red or green chili here. Redorgreenbooks.com, Red READ. We're on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and of course our website. We can get you in touch with Starchild if you're watching this back at a later date. But Starchild, where can people, if they just want to get a copy of your book, a signed copy from you, where can people go to do that?
Yeah, honestly, I know this is like not sophisticated at all, but like honestly, just email me. And I'll put it again, starchilddruid@gmail.com. Just
All
email
right.
me. And like I said, like if you'd be willing to just join with me in this, mutual aid community I'm trying to build, and just kind of partnering with me in that, then I'd love to send you a free book. And without any, you're not guaranteeing that you're gonna, send money to anybody, but just I just want people to kind of help me figure out what to do. I mean, that's a big part of it.
Absolutely. And if you happen to buy the book on our website and you're at this book release party, or you're watching the book release party, just shoot us an email when you're purchasing the book so that we can get you in touch with Starchild for the signed copy and all that good stuff. And that way we can definitely connect you. We're very it's not hard up here. We like, so yes, sir.
Also, so Luna had a question about how long it took to write the book. So basically, a lot of the poems in the book are over the past, like I think the earliest poem that was in the book I wrote like in '97 or something like that. And so it's been like a lot of them. It's just like a collection from, and whoops. Oh, what did I do? Y'all still there? Okay,
You're
whoops. I clicked on something yeah, but I also wrote I think most of it was kind of like there was this kind of crunch period, like, and it was like I guess the first part of 2023, like there was kind of a 3-month crunch period when I just like exploded with about 50 of them came out like in those 3 months, and that and it was really materializing as a book. Okay, Khadija. Teachers that don't look like you, how's it shaped your understanding, learning, and imagining of God? Yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, what's fundamental to my understanding of God is that I and this is partly like just how I interpreted Christianity when I was kind of more conventionally Christian. Um, I listen to whoever people who are outsiders, people who don't have power, people who might be like in the shadows or something. Oh yeah, I have a song called "Jesus Came Back. This time she's a black woman." Luna's mentioning that. And literally, like I mean, I honestly believe like if I don't know if the second coming is a thing, you know, Jesus ain't gonna come back as a white man. No way. He's gonna come back as a black woman. And I have several candidates like for second coming, like who I know that like I'm like, okay, maybe you are the second coming. Yeah, because it's just like, you know, the there yeah, I can't really put it into words except through the poems that I've written about all these folks who have taught me, you know, and yeah, but I've it's just like it's been my relationships with particularly queer women of color that have both shown God to me, and I think have been so instrumental in me discovering my authentic self. By just having the blessing of those relationships. That's just how it's happened for me. It's like that. I have been, just mothered into full authenticity. And yeah, and like I said, oftentimes it was when I was supposedly in the teacher role, but it was I got taught. And yeah, I mean, like if I'd never been a campus minister of a mostly queer campus ministry, like I wouldn't have come out as fully as I have. It was like, I mean, people, I was guided. Oh, okay, and I'm gonna share the link really quick to that specific song, "Jesus Came Back as a Black Woman." Let's see. Here we go.
Do you want to share sound? Like you can.
Can I play it? Can I play it for y'all?
Yeah. I made it. Multiple people can share sound, so you should be able to share sound for everyone.
Whoa. Okay. Hell yeah. Okay. So here we go. We're gonna go Spotify Premium. Boom. Okay. Here we go. Jesus came back, this time she's a black woman. Jesus came back, this time she's a black woman. Jesus came back, this time she's a black woman. The black woman is the lamb from Revelation. The black woman is the lamb from Revelation. The black woman is the lamb from Revelation. Last time he had a cross, this time she's got a switch. Last time he had a cross, this time she's got a switch. Last time he had a cross, this time she's got a switch. Preacher, look out, she's gonna flip your tables. Preacher, look out, she's gonna flip your tables. She's gonna flip your tables. The Lamb of God will overthrow the empire. The Lamb of God will overthrow the empire. The Lamb of God will overthrow the empire. The Lamb of God said, white man, get behind me. I said, yes, ma'am. The Lamb of God said, white man, get behind me. I said, yes, ma'am. The Lamb of God said, white man, get behind me. I said, yes, ma'am. Jesus came back, but this time she's a black woman. Jesus came back, but this time she's a black woman. Jesus came back, but this time she's a black woman.
Woo!
Yes, yes. Let's go. Yo, unmute your mics. Give it up for Starchild.
Yeah.
Thanks so
Yeah,
much
let's
for
go.
being here. Thanks so much for being part of my life. And yeah, we'll just keep on overthrowing the empire, you know.
Let's go. All right, I'm going to invite everyone to unmute their mics. Give it up for our author today, the one and only Starchild. Oh, you can grab Starchild's book by emailing them, starchilddruid@gmail.com. You can also go to Red or Green Book's website. You can read all about Starchild, get their links. You can read reviews for the book are on their way. They're coming, all of that good stuff. So please, please, please support Starchild and all of their endeavors, especially the very critical international endeavors that they have by emailing them. So you can get a free signed copy with alternatively helping them with all of the undertakings that they have abroad. But I thank you so very, very much, Starchild. Congratulations on this really incredible book. Y'all, it is 271 typed pages. 200, it's not little. It's thick. It's thick. And it's only $20. Like, that's practically free. This is definitely a book that is not like any other. I always do recommend people buy 2 copies. Buy one for you and buy another to give away. This is not like any other book you will ever read. It is incredibly unique and special and different. And if you're trying to get a gift for someone who has everything, or someone who is incredibly cerebral and artistic, get this book. Like, there's no shortage of ways to expand your mind by reading this book. You will read it over and over again. So please, please, please support Starchild. Grab a copy of their book. Any last things you want to say, Starchild, before we sign off tonight?
No, it just means a lot that y'all are here. And you know, yeah, I just want to see this new world that the mother is bringing into power. And I know that it's not dependent on anything that I'm doing. She's casting her seeds everywhere, you know, and I just hope that, you know, you can receive her full empowerment and just bring the love, you know, into full power. Because, you know, God knows our world fucking needs it, you know, but the old world is passing away. The new world is coming into power.
Bring the love. I mean, that is such a great takeaway for today. And I thank all of you so much. And I give so many blessings to everyone who is here, so many healing energy and love and light to everyone who is watching or is going to experience this. You can grab this live video on Facebook, on the Red or Green Books Facebook page. You can share the live video with anybody. They do not need to have a Facebook account if you did not know that. We will also be taking the live video and uploading it to our YouTube channel, Red or Green Books. Remember, though, you got to spell it READ, Red or Green Books. And please like, share, subscribe, and follow. There are so many videos up there. There's hours. There's hundreds of hours of stuff that of just poetry and beautiful readings like the one today. Please find Starchild on Spotify. Like, share, subscribe, and follow for all of their stuff as well. If there's that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's like just a little bit of what Starchild does. So if you want more, hopefully Starchild will join us in 2024 in our book club that we do, and come back in 2024 and read for us. Again, I'm so super excited to have them a part of our Red or Green Books family. And before we end, I will just invite everyone one last time, if you would like to unmute yourself and give a big warm round of applause and a lot of gratitude to our author, Starchild.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congrats, thank you.
Yeah. So good to see
Peace
you.
and blessings, everyone. Thank you so much for being here and supporting Starchild. And I will see you again, I hope soon, Starchild.
Yes.
Don't be a stranger.
Bye.
And I hope to see all of you at our next Red or Green Books event. Thank you so much. Have a
Okay.
wonderful night.
You too.
Bye.
Take care.